Hey guys, Gordon. You're a little watching How To with 240. Today we're doing a 17-inch dome, a loop 24 fiber, 2/6 flat drops. We're going to basically open this up and get you going. The one thing I will say, it's wintertime up here in Oregon. I like to have an extra heater sitting on the floor down here, basically to warm up this standard cable, because the sheath on this and the outer jacket basically tend to adhere to each other really well. But if you warm it up, it's a lot easier to open. So the first thing I usually do is I open up a little box. So I have a box for garbage. Go ahead and pause you now, because we don't know how to make a garbage box, right? But I'll start opening this up. It's still pretty cold. I'm going to leave it down about a heater for a little while. So I'm going to put you on pause, let that warm up. Alrighty, while I was waiting for that pipe, that 24 fiber standard to warm up, I thought I'd replace the blade in this here little tool. Unless you got a half hour to blow on putting it back together, be careful. But this little screw down here, notice this little screw, when you unscrew this whole thing will drop out and you replace the blade. But this little screw in the bottom of this, you loosen that up to line up this side screw that screws back in. Loosen that up and it'll make it easier. There's a spring in there and it's just kind of shattered apart. Anyway, that little blade there was pretty dull, so. And I also noticed that this little thing comes in the cases, little jewel. When you push that up in the bottom, that'll help set it up. And then when you're setting it up, push this all the way to the top like that, and it'll hold everything in piece, everything together up on the top up there, and it'll help change that out. Alright, so I'm going to measure this out. I'm going to go with my trusty side shot to ring this out. I figured it out right there. So I ring it on both sides to match. Size it up right there. Ring. And then turn this little knob to the middle, changes the blade direction. It's a lot easier when you got a warm cable and a good sharp blade on it. Make sure this stays in the place where it's supposed to be. Let's skip the spot. Tell where the cable was not warmed up. Alright, so that is stripped. Now be careful, because it will break the sheet here. I guess you could do that without ringing it first, but if I don't ring it, I don't know where to stop. I should put tape on it or something. So I'll leave that like that for a minute. I'll strip the messenger, the locate wire off of this 6 back here somewhere. Joining my Leonard Skinner Freebird. I think my favorite song of theirs is actually Simple Man. People ask me a lot why and how can I stand the way I have this trailer set up, not using this space as my table instead of this. I very seldom go to that side of this trailer. There's another door over there, so if I have to get into it, I can. But this way, it's like a U, and all my stuff is right here. I just pivot my chair. Toolbox is here, all my stuff. Splicers here, TV's right here. So if I'm really on something long on the internet, then I can stream something. So anyway, I just like the ability just to spin here. Over there, it's just, you gotta go way over there to get tools, or way over here to get tools. It's like how that's why it's this way. Okay, so I got that done. I'm gonna now attempt to strip this out, which might take a minute, so I'm just gonna pause, rip this 24 apart. Alright, so I got this started. Start stripping it. Hardest part is just getting started. That new blade, it cut all the way into that sheet. That worked out great. You can tell where there's a couple spots where it might have skipped. But yeah. Having that 24 standard warmed up and having the new blade helped immensely. But actually, I think having it sit in front of the heaters probably would have made it pliable and actually the best. So up here on the table where it wasn't in front of the heater, that blade didn't quite do it. It's a good cut. I'll just stick my X-Acto knife. That spot I skipped right here, and just lightly go over that cut. Slicer was a little shallow or something. Down there is our 24 loop opened up. So on this stuff, I'll either cut this shit up or I'll put tape on it so it doesn't spring back everywhere. Throw it in the old recycling box. And we can open up this sheath. Remember, this shit is sharper than hell, this sheath, so take your X-Acto knife, kind of start it open here. Then where you get your thumb in there and just slowly turn it, and I'll open it up. Put your thumb on the flat pot, obviously. And we'll nose it. Started. Again, remember, sharp as hell, like a razor. Always, when you're doing that, always remember to maintain this stuff straight. Right here at where you cut the sheet, where you read it and everything. If you're not careful, you can easily kink that fiber there, start flinging shit around. Always be mindful of keeping that straight. Then I take my snips. Scissors for your phone guys. Snips for your phone guys. Pull that off, pull it back. outer wrappings are off this. I still have the inner wrap of the, which is a pain in the butt. You got to unlace each one because it's a loop. Now, if this wasn't a loop, I would have taken my grommets, put them on before I did all that. But because it's a loop, I can cut this. Because I can cut this, the fiber, it's going to keep it a loop. But I can cut this and put those on then. But if it wasn't a loop, it was a dead end, I would have put those on first. So, I'm going to go ahead and install the case clips. Because it is a standard fiber that has a sheath on it. And that sheath is how we're going to locate it. So I'm going to put that on, I'll pull a ground wire out. So I'm going to get ready for that and I'll be right back. Okay, so the way I do this casey clip, so I'll look at this and notice that my blue and my orange binders come down here on the bottom, so I'll put my casey clip up here to stay away from it. So I'll take my X-Acto knife, cut a couple lines in the sheath, and then just kind of bend it a little bit, put my snips, and softly, without stab myself, open that sheath up. So, basically a casey clip. This goes back into the copper days. Casey clip is just a clamp that you're going to put on this side of it. The back side will go on underneath that metal sheath. And the front's just on the outside. Sometimes I will actually open that up and take a chunk of sheath off. Leave just the shield and just hook it on the shield that way. But this was pretty loose anyway, so I just did it this way. Just kind of assemble it, push it in there. To put the ground wire in, and I will tape it just to strengthen it so it doesn't bend, so it's a little more stronger. And if there's any sheath or the bonding sheath, it'll actually protect your hands from getting cut on that. Anyway, that's how I do it. Alright, so I got my grommet on my 2 6 flats. Now I'm going to take my flat stripper here, size it up to my other ones here. Pull, cut, and fill it. And what I say to this is cable runs in there, and there's a razor blade there and a razor blade there. Real easy to replace them. One of the best tools. Some people don't like them. I like them. Just gotta remember you can't replace those blades. And if they start to get dull, you can flip it over and do it again. Easy. Little needle nose, get it started. That easy. Alrighty, so I got these stripped out, these flats. I'll coil up all this outer jacket. I'll just cut it so it doesn't spring out everywhere in our box. On this strength member here, I'll just cut them long right now and finalize them down when I'm actually in the case. So cut them, pretty long. And these also, watch your eyeballs because they go go everywhere. I will chop these down so they fit in the box. Okay, so in this grommet, you can see this, but it has place for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, for 12 flats to go in here. We're not going to use 12 flats, so all these empty holes, you take these little pieces that come with it and fill them in. You can get them also with just 4 holes, but I didn't have it with me. So I'll use one of these and fill them all in. Alright, so I got the incoming side put into the case. And basically, here's what it looks like before. You just slap these in. I'll usually put the filled side on one and the seal on the other, obviously. And then just take your socket set, tighten that down. And basically, that's what it looks like from the inside. I'll go ahead and these other two. So I've got the CO side in of the 24. Just goes in there. Got 2 bolts. Tighten it up. This is what it looks like before. Before you put anything in there, you just slap these in there. After you put a little silicone in there, put the cap on, put the bolts in, tighten it down. These are dome. Love them. Coyote, they're Coyote domes. This is a 17-inch. I've talked before about the Tycos. I hate the Tycos. These are just a better for future getting into them later and easier to set up. Alright, so 15 minutes later, finally got all that wrapping off this loop. Now, the way I'm going to do this is every 2.5 feet, 2 feet, this wrap is wrapped one way, then wrapped the other way every 2.5 feet. So it's really easy to unwrap this without getting a big tangled mess. So you can separate the fibers. Basically, just grab two blue and orange tubes and unwrap it. We're there. Now over here on the next one, see, it's already undone. So jump down to the next one, grab them, and undo them. Next one. Back there, almost when you started. Refrigerators to laundry bags. And there's more. Get your new appliances delivered or installed quickly at your convenience. Because Lowe's knows appliances. Lowe's knows home improvement. Subject to credit approval. Okay. I know that we're working with only a 24, so the blue and the orange. But if I was working on 72 or 48, you don't want to make sure you get all the working fibers out of this loop before you cut it on. I just cut it back here, give myself something extra to work with. Cut that off. Go to the other side, same thing. Give myself some slack, make sure I don't get nothing else in my cutters. And then on this, again, watch out for your eyeballs. Chair. And cut this to length so that you can throw it away. So it's not an eye hazard. Tuck it right into your arm, like that. Just start whacking and whacking it. Start cutting it about, foot and a half, whatever fits in the cardboard box that all came in. That's our garbage box. That way it's not flinging everywhere because it is an eye hazard. Somebody else were to come in the trailer. Okay, so now I've got that done. So now I can lay out the strapping tool, the strapping brackets. Screw those in where we want to put them. My little lock wash thing on there. Screw that on. You guys can see this. The camera's too far away or not. It's all self-explanatory, really. Not that hard to figure out. And then we can come over here and all that packing pieces, cut those off, leaving the flex man member long. Fiberglass piece here. Move it over to your bracket, cut it off to length. Make sure there's nothing else in there. Take one of these clamps, put it on, put your little nut on it. Yeah, inch, tighten it down. Now we're done. So you got your strength member attached, so somebody grabs the cable in the vault and pulls the case up out of the vault. Not grabbing the case, but grabs the cable and pulls it out. It doesn't pull them fibers out of the case. Right, I'm gonna jump to the other side and do the other one. Back in a minute. Alright, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm putting the tags on the cables, which is very important because you come into this later. So this is not how this is done. This is what the construction crew did when they put it in. They just wrote it on here. That's not how it's done. You're supposed to write it there and then peel that white stuff off and then stick it back down. Let me show you. A brand new one here. Open it up. Six fiber. 4, 4, 5, 1, 5. You simply just pull the white stuff off and seal it. Now it's sticky back sealed, so it's now sealed, so water's not going to get in there. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be using the second binder here, the orange binder, so I'm going to unwrap this. It's like I only using the one, so basically the same thing. See here how it's kind of loose and it wraps, and loose and wrap again. That's because you can unwrap them. This one goes one way, and then you get to the next 2 foot, and it goes the other way. Come over here and unwrap this one, and you can basically separate them. Not basically, you separate them. Voila! So now we will coil the blues into here, and in one actually one loop of orange. Stand there. Basically looping the orange in here just so we have spare later if we ever have to get back in here, we can. If we ever have to redo something, we have extra to do it with. I might have company. Okay, so the only thing I do not like about these is the standard zip tie does not fit in these holes for attaching your stuff down here. But I've noticed that the old cable binders for copper cable, the color code, they work just fine. So that's what I use. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to label this out. I'm going to have my filled side, and I'm going to have the 6-pair flat drop here for one address. I'll write the address. Another one right here, I'll write the address for that one. And I'll have my COs over here. Or vice versa. Anyway. Okay, I got my measurement. I laid this out in the tray. Got where I need to open it up. I use this fine little tool we got here. Put it in the third cut over is where we want it to be. Make sure you're going with the arrow. I put marks on these already to know where I need to go to. So you put it on the third. This size fiber, that third spot.
Is it even a decision? Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time. This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One and Amex.
Just close it. It locks. Hold it. You just pull your fiber through it.
A potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening.
Back to your other mark.
You're at increased risk.
Pop open.
What's the game plan? A strong defense. Pneumococcal pneumonia can strike at any time in any season, so you shouldn't wait to help protect yourself. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination today and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Back for a mark, open it back up. Now, it's all should be popped out. The fiber should be popped out of there. But I will always have to do some work here. But I will always count these to make sure all the fibers here and not one hidden in here. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, they're all right here in this group. So I can cut this off now. I verified that there's not hidden in this tube. You might be able to grab this and split it apart. It's very important to make sure that all the fibers are there and not wrapped up in this. Anyway, so that's that part. Another thing about these little trays, they come with these little blue things for your fiber, for the tube to sit in. So when I do this first run on these, on the field here in the CO side, I will leave these loose in the zip tie so that I can adjust in and out to allow for how the wrap is in the tray. So get them in there, but don't tighten them all the way down. Then lay it out and then adjust accordingly. Well, as you can see, somewhere I mismeasured here and I ended up being that much short, but that's okay because I can put this strap in here and it'll hold it down when I'm all said and done. But yeah, my loop's here, it's way out here on that last loop. So I missed my judgment somewhere. So anyway, but that's how I'm going to fix that. Because I'm only actually cutting 2 fibers to tie in these 2 6s because they're feeding houses. So this is how I'll label my trays. And I like these I like these trays better than the Tycos because you have all these extra pieces that you can lay in and hold stuff in place. So like over here as my field that's going to be cut off because as those 2 COs are actually feeding that house, that's what's left of their 6 fiber going to their house. And that's the 6 fiber for 329. That's how I like to lay them out. Alright, we're going to splice these 2 fibers real quick. So our blue CO side, put my little heat shrinks on here.
Meet Cheryl. Hey, she's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her cheese debit card. It's gotta be somewhere. Maybe she lost it at Saucerite. These skirts in her pockets. Or maybe she lost it at Pilates. 3 and 2 and she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member of FDIC. For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one you
Okay, so
That's why millions
our first one is 515, which is this top one right here.
and we have same day pickup and
That's going to go to the blue.
But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you running. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
A lot of people use a piece of fiber cleaner. I use tweezers and a little cap of alcohol. Does pretty good. Just gotta, clean off that Q-tip. But it's basically with my fat fingers. I've learned that it just works better. Anyway. that side. This side. Hopefully you guys can see this. And I already sized these up. At least I did the CO side. Remember if I did the 6 pair or not? Let me check that out. We'll go any farther. I did. Yeah, I did not.
For all your repair needs, make First Call your only call for HVAC solutions. Call or schedule an appointment online at firstcallheat.com. CCB number is
That's my link.
267.
Yeah, that could have been a big ugly mess. Big ugly boo-boo.
Live at Revolution Hall on February 27th. The Black Jacket Symphony recreates this classic album, note for note, sound for sound, with no sonic detail overlooked. The Black Jacket Symphony performs Journey's legendary album, Escape, plus 10 of Journey's greatest
Amazing
hits,
what a
live at Revolution Hall on
inch and a half.
February 27th. Tickets are
The
available
difference
at
is made.
Tix.com.
On that one, the other one must have been longer.
The last thing you want to do is wait. How do you know? Operators are struggling to keep up with an ever.
Alright, let's try that again. So that's this one. Oh, I already cut that off. That's why we're short.
Today, Coin 6 investigates how can this be better? What the future holds. Today is live on Coin 6 News. Watching out for you.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Other Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown around in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager. ZipRecruiter helps you find all the right people, even those difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running. Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in a haystack. Statewide, 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quarter account with them.
And that's that.
You can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Up here. Get our shrink wrap on top of it. Put it in. Close it up. Let it do its thing. That's all there's to it. Okay, there's our finished product. Like I said, unfortunately, I mismeasured on this loop, but with this type of tray, you can make that work. So I've got my splice there, and that's the address for that house, address for that house. Very clean. If I showed you guys what I do on the tray, on the lid, I write down everything. So when you come up here for repair, you don't need to have a print of what's what. It'll tell you exactly what we have going on here.